Henshin Inspection presents Going Ultra. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer, and I'm about to talk to you about Ultraman Omega Episode 4, which, if you watched my little ultra fast review of it, you know I'm not so hot on it. But I actually listed out all the good and the bad, and I have more good than bad, even though I disliked some things about the episode. And I have a few interesting things to talk about as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with the bad and get it right on out of here. So, the worst thing about this episode is the little argument, the spat that Kosei had. It was really a one-sided argument or a one-sided issue that Kosei had. Kosei was upset that uh, Sorato is growing up and he is able to take the train on his own. And Ayumu, calls Kosei because I'm assuming Sorato doesn't have a phone right now. And she says she wants help because she thinks there's obvious signs of a kaiju, and she wants his help because he's a kaiju researcher. Kosei is a warehouse manager, not a kaiju researcher, so she wants the help of the relevant person. And Kosei flips out, and I don't know if the director wouldn't rein in the actor, if the actor was going crazy, or if the actor did exactly what the director told him to do, or whatever. But Kosei leaves in a huff with his boss, Ayo, and to go fishing with him, and because the fishing was going to be interrupted by the two of them going, and he just makes this ridiculous face and, well, I'm fine. You go investigate the kaiju. I'm gonna go fishing. And it's like really ridiculous how upset he is, and like the episode preview said that there would be a rift between the two of them, and this is like not a real rift. It's not a real rift, and it didn't serve the purpose of selling the toy of the episode, which was Rekiness and the armor, and that's why it's bad. It's like triply bad. It was a bad idea, bad performance, and it was unnecessary to accomplish what they were trying to accomplish. So it was completely pointless and dumb, and they didn't need to do that. They could have had some other complicating factor, like he wanted to go with Oya, or he wants to hide the fact that he is helping with the kaiju, and with the kaiju in general, and Sorato specifically as Ultraman Omega. So I just don't get it. It was really bad. Um, to that end, or not to that end, but also another thing is that they're trying to keep Sorato's identity as Ultraman Omega secret, and yet when the kaiju is attacking and Kosei is there to help him, he yells, "Sorato, do this! Sorato, don't do that! Sorato, this is your social security number!" And he just says all this stuff, and Sorato, I can't believe you're Ultraman Omega. And it's really stupid because the whole point is, or not the whole point, but like there's a thing going on where they're trying to conceal his identity, and yet he's not calling to him and saying Omega, he's saying Sorato instead, which is super dumb. The next thing that was bad was the toy transformation. I meant to look at Spark Dolls to see how they were used in the show, but I'm pretty sure they just grabbed the Sofubi and said, "This is a Spark Doll. I'm going to power up with this Spark Doll and become Ultraman, whatever." I don't know I don't know what show that was. Was it from Ginga? Was it from Rube? I don't know. Doesn't matter at this point. Go look it up. They just used regular toys as merchant or as transformation items in the show, and it worked. And here they have this prop, which is a decent prop for the Meteor Kaiju, for Rekiness. It's a decent prop, but what they do with the prop is when it transforms, like it's a CGI model that transforms into the Rekiness Kaiju like avatar, a little one, and then it turns into the real Rekiness Kaiju at full scale. And I just don't understand why they're doing that. It doesn't really make any sense to me. It doesn't look good. I don't think it's an engaging toy. Um, I just don't think it's satisfying. It's not helping sell the toy, and I think it's too bad that they're doing it. I think it just looks bad. So anyway, I will move on to the good. Kosei's Rekiness speculation is cool. He says to Sorato, "Hey, do you think this Rekiness Kaiju was like your pet?" He doesn't say because you have a pentagon on your chest and it has a pentagon on its chest, but he says, "Hey, maybe this thing fell to Earth at the same time as you, and it's your pet or something." And Sorato's like, maybe. Something seems familiar about it, but I don't really know because he's lost his memories, which is understandable. But I like that Kosei is thinking and trying to figure things out, piece things together, and yet he doesn't have a clue when it comes to getting upset, which feels incongruent. So that makes that even worse. That that he got all upset and flipped out for no good reason. Oya, the owner of the warehouse, is a sweet and wise old timer. Something I don't like is that in instances like this, it almost feels as if the character knows what's actually going on. He knows that Sorato is Omega. He knows that um, Kosei is helping him, possibly with Rekiness. And like he shouldn't know that, and I don't think he does, but it almost feels like he knows that, and I don't like that. I don't understand why that's done. Like Aunt May in Spider-Man 2, which is super relevant. If you check out the shorts, you'll know why. She almost acts as if she knows Peter is Spider-Man and is encouraging him to go back to it, and it's just kind of interesting. Anyway, so uh, just he's really charming. I kind of think he might be a cameo, like he's an old Ultra actor for something, but I don't know for sure. But I really like him. I'd like to see more of him, and just he was an enjoyable piece of the show. And like, had he like the way he was helping Kosei to overcome some of his struggles and get back to helping Sorato was or Omega was interesting, but it could have happened like on the fishing trip in a different way, and it still could have worked. Whatever. Especially because uh, I'll get to this later. He could have like gone out in the wilderness, or he could have gone fishing. Excuse me. Then he could have summoned Rekiness, and then he could have had Rekiness travel with him to the city, or just had Rekiness travel and telepathically controlled him from miles and miles away, probably. Anyway, but I'm talking about the good stuff. Serato is growing up so fast. Uh, he understands trains. He understands emotions. He talks about how he's independent now. He understands how to ride the trains, and he can go and go from place to place, and he can do that on his own. So he doesn't need Kosei. So in a way, it's kind of like a parent-child thing, which might be what they were going for, and might be why it was so irrational and illogical. But Sorato, the child in this situation, is not the one who's acting irrational and illogical. Did I say irrational? I don't know what I said. Anyway, and Kosei is, which he's like a parent freaking out, which I guess kind of works, but it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, I like Sorato. Like he's turning in. He was always an interesting character, but we see as time goes on that things are progressing for him, and he's learning more about the world, and he's learning how to fit into the world. And I think that's really good and useful, and just it's an enjoyable thing to see. Uh, Tactical telekinesis was used in this episode, which was really great. It reminded me of a scene in The Shadow, 1994. Anyway, with Tim Curry and Alec Baldwin. Yes, that's the right Baldwin brother. Anyway, um, he's invisible, but this guy turns on the water so that he can see the footsteps displacing the water. Because just because he's invisible to your eyes doesn't mean the effects of his invisibility aren't felt. Like you can definitely see him displacing water because he still has mass, right? And then the guy shoots him. So Tim Curry, I'm pretty sure, shoots him, and then he gets trounced later. Anyway, but they use the telekinesis to have Rekiness lift up all this debris and cars and things like that, and they're able to spot where the kaiju is and go ahead and attack him because of that, and that was great. The next thing is, I left out something that I liked, which I'll come back to. Okay, so I like Kosei having Rekiness as this kind of pet kaiju thing that he can summon. Not a pet kaiju, is this kaiju he can summon and use. And why not just have Sorato have Rekiness as a kaiju he can summon? It's a small cast. Um, Sometimes in Arc, it kind of felt like people were just like waiting around doing nothing. Um, Less so in Zet and in Blazar. Everybody felt like they had a purpose and like they were all doing things for the most part. Sometimes people had the week off or whatever, and they were away, and they weren't involved with the plot, and that was fine because there was the rest of the team to carry on. But we didn't have that. This is not Scarred. There's no official group to deal with this kaiju are new to the world, so there's no kaiju defense force. So they're making it up as they go along. But like having Kosei, who's a main supporting cast character, have the ability to use this kaiju in battle is interesting, and I like it, and I think it's overall a positive thing. I think it's overall a positive thing, and I'm curious to see where they'll go with it and how they'll expand upon it and make it better or not as they go forward. Because I think it's something good. It works. The other thing I forgot to mention is that I absolutely love this kaiju design. I didn't catch his name, and I meant to check out the wiki and pull information from it before I did this recording, but it's super late. I've been traveling for hours, and it didn't happen. So anyway, yeah, the Kaiju's super cool. It's cute in an ugly way. I like birds a lot. It's weird, especially raptors. This thing was raptor-tastic, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, and he was a lot of fun. This Kaiju, and I'd like to see him come back. I'd like actually, I'd like to see the Kaiju come back because it's really cool. It's great design, great design. A lot of fun stuff happened with him. Some interesting things, and then I'll wrap up. Kosei's stamina is 10 minutes. That's pretty cool. He can have Rekiness out for 10 minutes and control him to do stuff for that long before he like kind of gets dizzy or lightheaded, whatever, and then Rekiness collapses down into the little orb and he catches it and it falls and he has a prop in his hand, so that's fun. And then there's something going on with, well, anyway, I just think it's interesting like why uh, Kosei bonded with the Kaiju. He had it close to his heart, it was up to his chest when it awoken, when it was awoken in the last, what I guess the last episode, episode 3, and like they don't really explain the mechanics of it, and that's fine. But like the thing with his eyes flashing blue and him being able to control it, and Rekiness like giving him a message telepathically, even though he didn't really understand it, he's like, "Oh, fine, I trust you. Go ahead, even if I don't understand." It's kind of interesting because they're I don't know, they're just like playing with the idea that, kaiju aren't all just these mindless monsters. And Rekiness specifically has this connection and this bond with Kosei for some reason. He'll only work with him, which leads to some great comedic moments. And I wonder what that means. I wonder why that is. And I wonder if we're going to see weird stuff happen with Kosei, like he gets visions from Rekiness all the time, or if he can communicate with Rekiness in his little, statue form, or what that could lead to, because I think, excuse me, I think they can go in a lot of interesting directions with that, and I'm just curious to see where they'll go with it, and I think it'd be fun. Anyway, so that's all for my review. What do you think of the episode overall? If I had to rank it with like 3 out of 5, I'd probably or 5 out of 5, or if I had to rank it on a scale to 5, I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5, maybe a 2 out of 5 because it was just kind of dumb. But the action was really good and really fun to watch. I really like the look um, of whatever this Rekiness armor version of Omega is. It's really cool. And again, overall, it was fun. Just there was something lacking in the depth of this. Like the depth of the storytelling was not there, and also like the way they played off the toy stuff also wasn't working for me. Even though I like the idea of doing the toy armor stuff, and also, and then ultimately also, so like they're failing with Rekiness as a character, sort of, and yet the armor is really cool, and the fight scene with it was really cool. So it's just I'm kind of all over the place. Maybe it's too much to make the armor a character as well. Maybe. Arc didn't do that. He just had his armors appear and he did stuff with them, and that was cool. I kind of like that he's using kaiju in this way, but something's off. Anyway, let me know what you thought about it, and yeah, leave a comment, and we'll talk about this. It'll be enjoyable to discuss it. And there's going to be a trailer for my book Mockwing Mayhem, which has magical bugs battling monsters, and the magical bugs use weapons of light that they forge themselves to fight against the monsters of darkness who go after and hurt and attack children. So anyway, that's pretty cool. If you like Ultraman, I think you'll like my book Mockwing Mayhem, which is available now on Amazon. So anyway, until next time, folks, take care and be well. Magical bugs battle monsters in this exciting fantasy adventure. Gremlins prey upon children. Growbugs protect them. When a gremlin finds a hidden growbug fort, the whole flock makes a surprise attack. How will the growbugs survive? Find out in Mockwing Mayhem. Learn more at growbugs.com, where you can find out more about our mailing list, receive behind-the-scenes information, and get all the latest news on the growbugs.